Hi, everyone. Welcome to ECE Labor Recognition, a podcast for ECEs to learn, share, and recognize their professional journeys. My name is Riti, and I'm joined by my group mates Erin, Yolanda, Ishani, and Deanna, and here we're going to share our voices, points of views, and stories about entering into the field. We hope you enjoy. Welcome to episode 2. In today's episode, we're going to talk about quitting, and that's ECE students quitting the field before even getting in. Stay tuned and join us in today's episode. Students are already quitting. Hi, so today we're talking about why students are quitting their jobs before they even start. So right after they study, they don't want to go into the field. And most of us, me and Ishani, are domestic students, but the rest of us are international students, Deanna, Yolanda, and Erin. And most of our program is international students too. So we're going to get that perspective, and we're going to talk about the general reasons why students want to quit this job before they even get started. So first of all, I'm going to go to Deanna, Erin, and Yolanda. So as an international student, why do you not feel confident going into this profession?
So I feel like the first reason is because of the physical condition. And this is also what I observed, that why some of like the friends, like our alumni, so they quit the field after graduation. So when I say that physical condition, it may indicate, it may refers to, for example, the very popular physical condition that we might all have after we enter this field, including the back pain, and the wrist, right? So these these are very likely to be part of like very those kind of popular illness that we may all have after we enter this field. And so because of there's very limited sick days. So if the ECEs they are having pain regarding on these, so they don't have time to go to the doctor. So what they can do is they can only put braces to temporarily ease the pain, and that's the only thing that they can do. So as I can observe in my previous placement, so there's not much ways for them to deal with these pains. They don't even have time to take good self-care. What they can do is they can just put braces and continue working and interacting with the children. When it gets better, they may get hurt again. So I have to say that it's very easily to get hurt in this job. And but the thing is, what we can do after we get injured, are we being taken good care to? So can we like ask for paid leaves? But actually, no, it's not that idealistic. And the second thing, I think what caused these physical condition, like make our physical condition worse, is because of the work environment. So this can be separated into two, and I do find that the working conditions between the childcare centers and the school board is pretty different. So the main difference is about the gender. So when I say the gender, it means that for the childcare center, we will find that most of the staffs in the childcare center are females. And we don't have the specific staffs to do the cleanings. We don't have the specific staff to do the even the loading, the the stuffs, right? For example, like the tissue paper and those kind of like heavy low work. So we don't have the male stuff to do that. So what we're going to do is the ECEs are going to do it, as at least that this was what I was being asking to do in my first placement. So for these kind of like heavy load works, so I don't think it's actually realistic for the ECEs to do it, and we might hurt ourselves. But when we are being asked to do, we have no choices. So this is very desperate. But in the school board, because there's male workers, so you will find that, and there's like specific gym teachers. So which means that when we're going outside, we don't need to putting or like put out these like very heavy tricycles all the time by only ourselves. So we can have like specific helpers, like the other teachers, to help us to share the workload, and that really helps. But I mean, like working in the childcare centers, the physical condition is really desperate because we have very limited staffs to share our works.
Yeah, I even saw that in my recent placement. Um, I at first I didn't think it was related, but then think it
Mm.
is related because a couple of educators, supply teachers, supply ECs, teachers, ECs, they were all telling me they had sciatica. And I've never heard of this, but then I looked into it, and like it was very surprising to me that most of these teachers and educators have gotten this because of the job, which was very surprising to me that it affected their physical condition this much.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
so so ultimately, like this physical condition, at the end it also like it affects their mental condition as well, right? So in last year they did a survey in 2023 by the Canadian Mental Health Association. So it says that 50% of ECs leave their jobs within the first 5 years. I was amazed by this fact because we studied so hard for 2 years, and within
Right.
5 years, if they leave the job, so what is the, why are we doing this? And most of the people who left said that because of the low pay, they left, and because of that, there's a high turnover rates there, and because of that there are staffing shortages as well. And most of them say that they feel guilty to even take sick leave, because then their peers who are working will get like a high workload, right? So I
Mhm.
was kind of amazed by this fact.
Yeah, it's very desperate actually. I can still remember that on the first day of I can't remember exactly if it is like the second or last placement. So on the very first day that I went to the center, and there like the supervisor introduced me to the other educator, and there was one educator saying this to me. She said, "I hope that you can like." I hope your so first she said, I hope your back is fine and I hope that you can like bending down and picking up the stuffs and bending down again and picking up the stuff. So this kind of repeating behaviors, she said, I hope that your back is fine and you can like manage to do this. So which means that from this word we can realize that like the back hurts and this kind of like physical pains in the kind of long-term illness, it has been a consensus in this field. But the thing is not like all the positions, different occupation, they all have the possibility to get hurt or get injured in the workplace, right? But the difference is how we're being taken care, right? What kind of benefit or what kind of like care we can
Exactly.
if we get injured. I feel like in this
Mm.
field, they can predict that we may get injured, right? But they don't care. It's like yeah, nobody care. So that's a problem, I feel like.
And
Yeah.
they're not doing anything like they're not putting anything in place to prevent it. Most places
Yeah.
actually, like I don't know if you guys have had this experience, but there were no chairs for adults in a lot of my placements. Like if you want to sit in a chair, you're sitting in the same chair that the
Oh,
children
yeah.
are sitting in.
You mentioned a very nice point.
Yes,
That's
yes,
also
that's the
what I
truth.
want to say. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think all this also we can back to like related to our first podcast is like a very low payment, a very struggled financial situation and the level of stress. So it's like a double squeezing us. One side is very struggle the financial depressed, and another is like very very high pressure of stress, both mentally and physically, and leading the hazard of and illness injury and no opportunity to recover. uh, Come on, we are human, right?
Yeah, I mean, like all what we have been taught in the courses is like we need to like to emerge. We need to like help to create a very inclusive environment, right, for the children. But I mean, like in turn, so how about us? Do you really like? Have you ever been feel included in that learning environment? Do you feel happy every day when you go to the work? So, the most frequent thing that I heard from my previous placement is that all the educators, they mentioned that I'm so tired on the very beginning of the day. They said this very frequently at the beginning of the day. They said, oh, I want to run away from this. I'm very tired. I'm so sleepy, like these things. So, and after they come to the working places, they can, I mean, like for myself, including me, I can find nowhere to make me feel being included. There's nowhere for me to take a break. So is it possible? Is that not like, is it that impossible for us to have like an office in a childcare center? I mean, it's just like, for example, we have 8 to 10 educators. Isn't that impossible? Like to have a room which offers 8 tables. So each like educator can have at least one table for us to take our break, to have to let us take a nap, right? To let us to have our lunch. So is that impossible? I mean, like this is realistic, but they didn't do it.
Actually, it's like, do you guys feel like it sounds like this all conditions environment is driving people away, driving educators away? We're saying what students they are living in the very first years after so much hard working of study, improvement, but finally they find out that all the environment, all the conditions driving us away from the field.
Diana, you want to say something?
Oh yeah, like I was listening to you guys and I feel because I feel it too. This
Mhm.
hopeless, like we are just about to enter the field and listen to us like we are totally hopeless, and obviously there are reasons to feel this way, like we not feeling this just because we just imagine things. We have experienced the fear, right? We already went to those placements and we already kind of taste how it's gonna be, and we were just students and we had most of us very tough like placements. Some of us had better experience, some of us had not that good experiences, right? And the whole thing that I can feel are um hopeless, like this sense of like this is not gonna work, right? And I can not like I keep listening like they don't provide, they don't give. And I was just wondering, who are they? Like the centers, like the supervisors, or we are talking about a bigger place or bigger people, or I don't know, bigger institution as the government probably that regulate that for us. Like not only we are talking about the Minister of Education right now, we are talking about working conditions, we relate with the labor minister, right? So it's not only about like like they as the centers, because if the centers at that like the regulations and procedures and policies, they don't are required to provide those kind of things for educators, what they gonna provide
So
it?
I
It's
feel like for
either
this question, so my thought is first it is the government and then it will be the center. So why I think this is, so from one of the placement, I saw that the supervisor, she was buying those kind of repeating toys for the children. When I say repeating, it means that she didn't even have the eager to pull that toy out of the box, to unseal it. She doesn't have the eager to do that because she know that we already have it in the room. Actually, we don't need it. So I was very curious. So I asked her, so why like we still buy it, because we don't like kind of need it, right? And she says that because that was a non-for-profit childcare center, and she mentioned that if we don't use these kind of subsidies, which is given by the government, we don't use it up. So it needs to be returned by the end of the year. So I don't know how exactly this works, but in my understanding is that so the government give fundings to each of the non-for-profit centers, like a bunch of money every year. It's based on the annual subsidies. But if the center, they don't use it up on the, let's say, those kind of expenses on purchasing the new learning materials or stuff like that, they need to return it to the government. But I mean, if you know that this is like useless, so why no one initiate or talk to the government that actually this can be used in somewhere else, right? To what about buying the staff a lunch? What about buying the staffs a gift, right? So these kind of things
they
can make
can't.
people work there being more motivated, and we can feel much better because the only thing we're asking for is we want to be appreciated. We want to feel being appreciated. We want to be respected, right?
But
Yeah.
they can't. The thing is, like how we actually learn how it works is like let's say we have A, B, C, D budget, right? We say that for A budget it's gonna be $50, for B budget it's gonna be $50, for C budget it's gonna be $50, right? Like in total, $150, right? But let's say that in the budget B, we just exceed the budget, right? Like we run out of money. So we cannot use budget A, which was for, I don't know, let's say toys. We cannot do that. So remember how we learned about that. So that's the things that why it is so important for like centers to know how to like plan and project their budgets. And we
Yeah.
already know 80% of the budgets of a center is like for stuff. And that's totally true. But this is again the deal. Like this is like we are all fighting over like the same people, but the same people is also having troubles and like having troubles about how we can deal with this big issue. And the thing is, and I just gonna like end my intervention here, is the big things is we need policy. We need policies that actually give us as a students the opportunity to feel safe in the field. We need the opportunity to go on our childcare to work and give the best of us and be able to get sick if we get sick, and to be able to be recognized and respect and dignified and in a dignified place, just as you say, Yolanda, because we are human beings. We need that. In order to have that, we need like funding, but we need better strategies and a labor force and better strategies for us to give us that guarantee. And that's not only not something crazy. We just need rights. That's how it's gonna end this part.
Yeah.
I
Yes.
totally agree. We need to see those rights. And until we see them, we also need to make a wage for ourselves. So honestly, I don't see a lot of new people coming into this profession the more and more they learn about the unfairness of it. And until we start seeing some real change, that's when people will start coming back into the profession. And that's why students are quitting before they're even getting started. So I think that was a great discussion we had. And in the next episode, we're going to talk about how we can actually speak up against these inconsistencies and unfairnesses that we're seeing. We're going to talk about how you can also help advocate for this cause. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see you in the next episode. Thank you. Well, that's all from us for now. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. We hope you can feel some kind of relation to our experience. Please be part of the change. You can also follow our Instagram and spread knowledge to recognize early childhood educators' labor. Follow us on Instagram at ece.advocacy2024. Have a nice day.